times during, well, you know, in 1909 and 1910, all the holes were dug by hand. We didn't have machinery even back then. So in October to about May, the ground was way too hard to be able to dig, so they needed a place to be able to put the bodies. This is where those bodies laid from the time of their death during those times until they could actually bury them. Some of the vaults will hold 6 bodies, some will only hold 3. The balls that are in that room there are called bloating balls or belly balls. The body, after it dies, starts the decomposition. And especially in the intestines, bacteria builds up, and if you don't control that, the body will actually explode. And it's just a natural way of doing it. What they do is they take those balls, they put it on the stomach, that's why they call them belly balls, to control that bloating before they can actually take them out. These doors here were basically put together so that they didn't disturb all 3 bodies at the same time. If they just needed the top body, all they had to do was open the top vault, and that made it a lot easier. The casket lift, you saw the condition on the pictures if you looked at them up there. The casket lift was in very, very bad shape, so was this whole area. Will DeBoer, who's the manager for the cemetery, actually got a $300,000 grant, and that's what it took to get a lot of this stuff up. This had to be reboarded, all of the ropes had to be redone. He had to have a coffin down here, so he went to one of the funeral homes and begged him out of a coffin. He has some connections, I guess. The wagon that is on the other side over here is actually one of the original wagons. After the memorial service and the casket wasn't needed above anymore, they would bring the casket down. That would immediately go on the wagon, and then it would be taken out those doors. We don't use this as cold storage anymore. This is back in a time where embalming wasn't something that was traditionally done yet. I mean, they didn't really have any interest in embalming until Lincoln's death. When Lincoln was assassinated, that was the first time that they attempted it, and it's because he had to take an 18-day trip on a train. So to be able to kind of keep him still looking lively, they embalmed him. And it convinced so many people, because he had more color in his face than he had before. They actually filled in a lot of the recesses that he had. He looked healthier. So that also all of a sudden became an industry. And there were embalming companies that were making their own fluids. They had traveling salesmen that went from state to state, county to county, not only embalming people, but also teaching the trade. And most of this embalming was done in people's beds or on the kitchen tables, because that's where everything was prepared. And the women were the ones that actually did all of the preparation of the body. The men traditionally did no preparation of the body. So things have changed traditionally now. She told you that the funeral homes are the ones that do most of the preparation of the bodies now. Back then, when the funeral homes weren't something that were here yet, all of the preparation, again, was done at home, but so was the viewing. They usually had it out in the main room.
In the living room.
In the living room. Again, no pun intended. But the problem was that the casket, the flowers, because they had such overwhelming arrays of flowers, that was usually to cover the odor of the body as it was decomposing. And the people that came would make the floors of that living room collapse. And not only take the coffin, but a couple of other people with it, and so the industry grew. So they figured they'd go ahead and start up funeral homes. It was just a little more enlightening for people, so they didn't have those accidents at home. But it's a neat piece of history. You won't find many of these here. Most of them were destroyed, and it's one that we love being able to take people in. So the slabs in there are made of slate. They've brought in from New England. If you saw the video, this was the door that swung open and closed. Like I said, if you hold these doors, you can find out they're solid. Diane, you have the key? Okay.